What's up, my G's? Yeah. Let's do nerd things. So, first things first, you have to install the emulator. I think it's pretty straightforward, just like you would install any other internet software. So go to the PPSSPP site, and you're going to grab whatever one you want to install. Ryan, I made a little note of this. If you want to install it for iOS, I do have mine up and running. It is kind of stupid, but let me know if you want help getting that up, or if you're just going to play it on desktop, then you don't even need to worry about it because it works great on Mac. So basically just kind of follow the instructions or do your normal install process for, installing a new program on your system. And then once you're there, open her up. And then we have to do three things. We have to add games, we have to add cheats, we have to add textures. You don't have to add textures or cheats, but it makes it look nicer, and then you get all the cards off the bat, which for me, like, trying to grind to unlock cards is just like stupid. I would rather just like have them all and just be able to build the deck how I want it from the get-go. The AI duelists are good enough, especially in the later games, that it's like you can build a strong deck and you're still going to lose sometimes, and that's cool. Like, whatever. So the easiest way to get to the place where you need to drag and drop the assets that I gave you in the little folder is by going to Settings, and then System, and then Show Memory Stick Folder. And that should take you to, on Mac, it says like .config. I know this here is like a hidden folder in the system, so I think it's like either Command-Shift period or Option-Shift period or Control-Shift period. Probably just do a Google search if it's not showing up, and that should solve the issue, because anything that starts with a dot on Mac is hidden. Uh-oh, low battery. I gotta floor it. I'll turn on my brightness too. But or on Windows, I think you just go to your control panel. Somewhere in there should say, like, you can right-click, show system files or show hidden files. So then you're gonna open up this folder for the emulator, go to PSP, and then this is more or less all the folders you will need. And hopefully I gave you everything you'll need to like replace in that folder. But I also, hopefully you guys got this okay, this Yu-Gi-Oh! Bros folder. I'm going to upload it as a zip and add it to that little Google Doc, like a link to it. But basically, you're just going to be adding the assets from these folders into their respective folders in this PSP directory. So open up game, and then just grab all the games in here, do a drag and drop. It literally adds all the games. I threw in Tag Force 1, 2, and 3, as well as the fan-translated version of the Japan-only Arc V Tag Force Special. I don't know if it's Arc V or Arc 5, but that's in there. That's the one I've been playing most recently, but I did start playing Tag Force 3, I think, which was nice to kind of get back up to speed with, some Yu-Gi-Oh! Mechanics before getting into, like, Synchro Summoning, which is in Tag Force 3 a teeny bit, and then Xyz Summoning, which is, of course, not in Tag Force 3. But to install, you're just going to go open up, game, drag drop, textures, drag drop. If you have any issues with this, I know that this NPJ file is the one that corresponds with Arc V Tag Force Special. This ULES corresponds to Tag Force 3. The textures, if you end up liking Tag Force 1 and 2 and trying it out, I like those games as well. I just, these were the two that I just like built decks in and just kept kind of playing. But There's HD texture packs, fan-made, available for all of them if you just search the game name and then HD texture pack. So you're going to add the textures to this folder, and then last, go to cheats. And the only one you should need is just this cheat.db, and I included that in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Bros folder as well. This contains cheats for like pretty much every PSP game ever released, but the emulator is smart enough to pull the specific cheats for the game you're using when you load them, and we'll do that in a second. So drag and drop cheat DB into cheats as well. So at this point, it should be emulator installed, and then you've added games, you've added textures, and you've added cheats to the folders. At this point, I believe we're done with this PSP directory, so I'm going to go ahead and close it, knowing, hoping, praying that all the files are in there in the right spots for you guys as well. Hopefully it all lines up. And then kind of step 2 is you have to enable those things in the emulator and tell it to look for the texture pack and use it, and then also tell it where to look for cheats and which cheats to turn on. So for that, we'll do textures first. Go to Tools, Developer Tools, and click this box for Replace Textures. From there, you'll know it worked when you boot up the game, and a little green bar appears at the top and says like texture replacement pack activated. If you want to, it could be a good idea to boot the game first without a texture pack, just to like see if it works without and make sure things run as is before you add shit into the fray. Or you can just send it because it should, in theory, work. Then, step 2, if you would like to use cheats, first you have to go into System, scroll down to the bottom, and then, it's in this middle, Cheats, enable cheats, hit yes. From there, it'll actually show up in like the game side menu, which is cool. And then to do specific cheats for a game, I think you have to load the game actually. So I'll just do this Arc 5 Take 4 Special. You saw the texture replacement pack activated. That's cool. It boots up. Case continue because I have something here. Then for cheats, once you're on this main menu, I don't know, it's always worked fine for me from here. Go emulation pause, brings up the menu. And then at this point, cheats should show up. If it doesn't, just go back into settings, system, enable cheats, and then this should show up. And here, I know for sure you have to turn on the master code. I don't remember. I don't think this all 3 cards with variant worked for me. So I ended up using this all cards times 9. Basically, these cheat files are like compiled from a collection of cheats across the internet, and they get thrown into one folder and, from different sources. So they might be different based on different game versions, Europe versus Japan or something like, or a different hacker or whatever might have made them. So you can try a couple, but the ones I know work for sure. And then I use master code with all cards times 9. I like draw 6 cards in the first turn. It's a little bit more old school Yu-Gi-Oh! That you get the 1 card when you start. Partner control, if you're in a tag duel, lets you control your partner's handed deck. You can ignore that for now if you're not going to do a lot of tag dueling. I personally don't. They like making an option, which is cool. Then you can do remove ban list. I like to run like Graceful Charity, Pot of Greed, Change of Heart, whatever, and not have to be like worried about it. And the AI decks, especially in Arc 5 Take 4 Special, are like hard enough to where they're all very engine built, and like if you're running a more vanilla deck or something that's more disjointed, it's huge. And then I also like speed up because it makes the game run at 60 FPS. So at that point, that should be cheats on enabled, textures in there, and then you can go, start building decks, start dueling. I like Arc 5 Tag Force Special because it kind of has different, you know, you can like play through each era, and even within like each one, there's like a Yugi arc, a Kaiba arc, a Joey arc, and then you like unlock more as you go as well. They're not super in-depth with the story. Basically, you know, it's just a bunch of little dudes that bob around, and then like as these hearts fill up, main events come up, and then you duel through them. But yeah, hopefully that's good, gets you up and running. I'm gonna make a little video after this, probably later on after I take the dog on a walk, to I guess like show some of like the deck building tools I use in this game. But yeah, hopefully that's all good. Oh yeah, and you know, lastly, I guess to check and see if the texture packs worked, you know, you can go into deck menu, deck edit. It's easy to tell for this Arc 5 Tag Force Special because with the texture packs off, you know, first of all, this will be a lot more pixelated, but then also in Japanese. One more thing to note, the way that the textures work, and you just saw it happen, but like, oh, there it goes again. Like the first time you load a card like this, the way I understand it, the emulator like pulls the original first, and textures don't get replaced until that specific texture is loaded and then dumped, they call it, the first time. So even if all your cards look like shit the first time, or I think all the small ones for me on Mac didn't really work at all ever, but basically like, you know, the texture, at least of this image, looks like ass, but this text and this larger attack defense worked. But basically if you navigate off of it and then go back to it, or past it and then back to it, it looks like it should load. So this one goes from a pixelation Japanese name to Gravekeeper's Oracle. So yeah, you know, then like all the Dark Magician cards for me all show up basically perfect because I use those all so much, but I was looking at some Gravekeeper cards. But anyways, that's how that works. Let me guys know if you need any help. Obviously, this is like homie thing, Yu-Gi-Oh shit. You can't bother me enough with questions. Happy to help you get it up and running, or you can screen share or whatever the fuck, and we can get done. So, all right, peace, dudes, and yeah, I'll do a little follow-up later.